Tumatakbo ako ngayon papuntang sale kasi Pasko na. Except wala sale. So as you know, this is pricewatch where we track CPU and GPU prices. Pero una, RAM update muna tayo. RAM apocalypse pa rin. Pataas pa rin yung mga presyo weekly. It's crazy. Pero yung takeaway ko dito, tinanong ko yung isang supplier, kailan ba magsa-stabilize ulit yung prices? Or you know, when is production expected to meet demand? Sabi niya, 2028 pa. So simula pa lang tayo sa RAM apocalypse. And that will cascade. So yung other components, gumagamit ng memory like GPUs. So tumaas na ba yung mga prices ng GPUs and CPUs? Let's find out. This is Pricewatch for December. May mga holiday sales ba? Lahat yan. Should you buy now or wait? Mas mura ba in a couple of months? Tama ba yung prediction ko dati?
I actually mentioned last time na generally prices don't drop for the Christmas season, at least dito sa atin. Pero malay mo, baka ang dami nangyayari ngayon with the tariffs.
Lahat yun in the video.
Sawa ka na ba sa unactivated Windows mo? Well, lucky you! Pinakabago mula sa cdkeyoffer.com. Windows 10 and Windows 11 activation codes. Legit, safe, at pinakamura. Madali lang umorder.
Hanapin ang Windows version na gusto mo. Piliin ang preferred payment method. Wala pang 5 minutes, nagsiligi ka na para sa Windows mo.
Marami na kaming natulungan.
Dati, sad and depressed ako. But now, I found the love of my life.
Dati, aimless and walang purpose ang life ko. But now, I'm a world-class Zumba instructor.
So, web developer ako and content creator for a YouTube channel. And ngayon, ganun pa rin ako pero activated na yung Windows ko.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com. Unfortunately, I was right. Sinabi ko in the previous months that based on our historical data, wala masyadong discounts pag Pasko dito sa atin for computer parts. And we're seeing that trend now. If anything, tumaas pa nga yung mga prices, especially on the mid-range cards, the newer 50 series cards that most people think na, oy, kung mag-upgrade ako, yan na lang bibilhin ko. Starting out with the 1650, very surprising actually. We've never had a problem finding this card, but now from the 4 largest PC retail stores that we track in the country, none of them have the 6050. And we have pricing data for the 1650 dating back all the way to 2022. This is the first month that we couldn't find it in the stores that we track. Baka tightening of the availability of the lower-end cards, especially with the jump in memory prices. Nvidia has been saying that they will discontinue lower-end models. The 1650 is a very old card. I don't think it has been in production for a while. But maybe people have heard na, yung ibang lower-end models will be harder to find. So that has cascaded. Kung baga yung demand, nag-spill over na rin to other entry-level cards. 1350, one of the sole bright spots for the prices this month, went down slightly from around 10,500 to 9,930. 3060 12GB, again, good news. Price hasn't changed. And this is still a decent card in 2025 going into 2026, especially if you get the 12GB version. 4060 price, slight decrease. Although it's sort of hard to justify getting the 4060 since the 5060 is faster, has more AI features, so you'll get faster upscaling, and the price difference is not that big. So kung cost to performance, usually it's better to go with the 5060 unless you can get a really good price on the 4060. But that being said, tumaas yung price ng 5060, and that's true for all of the 50 series models that we've tracked. Yes, lahat ng 50 series models, tumaas yung price. Thanks Nvidia, Merry Christmas din sa'yo. 5060, 19,200 or so last month, around 19,500 this month. Yes, that's just a slight price bump, but it is an increase nonetheless compared to the previous months na medyo pababa yung 5060 price. People requested for the 5060 Ti, so here you go. The reason why we don't have certain cards or certain CPUs is that lahat ng list na to mano-mano. I tried using AI, I tried using scraping, but it doesn't get the most accurate data. Paminsan mali-mali pa. It's gonna say like, this card is in stock, pero hindi pala. So this entire list, manual to. Either myself or lately, one of the staff, sorry Red, goes through the sites manually, gets the data, and then inputs it. So the reason why we don't have some models is that this list that you're seeing is a lot of time from us. Mabusisi siya. So we just tried to capture a sample of the market. That being said, you requested it, so here we go. We're tracking the 5060 Ti with its debut price of close to 30,000. Price increases continue with the 5070 with the price increase of around 1,000 pesos from 37,400 to 38,500. Around the 3,000 peso increase for the 5070 Ti. Last month, 54,100 siya. This month, close to 57,000. Big jump for the 5080 which we highlighted before in the previous months na actually maganda yung presyo ng 5080. Good deal siya. Yeah, it's a bit expensive, but you know, for the price that you were paying, the performance that you were getting, okay siya in the previous months, but not this month. Although this is because one of the retailers that we track, yung in-stock lang yun na 5090, yung ROG Astral. So the average price really goes up since it's a higher tier card. 5080 already higher tier, ROG Astral also upper tier. So that price premium really raised the average prices. There are cheaper 5080s out there, but this is the average price of what you can get it for. Again, yun nga, based on the data from the 4 PC stores that we track. So last month, the 5080 was around 71,700. This month, 85,750. Again, you can find cheaper, but this is the average price because one of the stores, yung in-stock na lang niya yung ROG Astral, which is also what we're seeing, that trend na tightening of the high-end market. So yung nabanggit ko kanina, yung tightening on the lower-end entry-level cards. On the opposite end of the scale, yung high-end cards, may ganun na din. Yung mga available lang for some retailers are the really expensive cards or the really expensive variants of that particular model. Same kind of logic happening with the 5090. Last month, around 162,600. This month, over 169,000. So iniipit tayo on both ends of the market. Entry level, medyo mahirap na makahanap ng good price. Higher end, king of the hill type models, also kind of hard to find na rin at a good price. Although a bit of good news for the AMD models, the three that we track, all of them, the price has gone down. Yes, slightly lang naman, but you know, we'll take any price decrease that we can get. So yung 9060 XT, 16 gigabytes, last month 25,600, this month around 24,700. 9070 last month almost 41k, 49,990 or so. This month still in the 40k bracket pero around 40,200 na lang. And AMD's King of the Hill 9070 XT, very small price difference, slightly over 45,000 before, now just slightly under 45,000. So not that great for AMD cards, but definitely yung pricing change better than Nvidia cards. The best pricing change that we've seen is for Intel's B580. So itong card na to, good performance for its price before. Mas lalo pa ngayon where the price has gone down relatively significantly. Yung problema, walang bumibili ng mga Intel GPUs. So this is a good move by Intel. Sort of really lean into the value proposition nila na value sila for money. If that wasn't enough of a decider at its previous prices, it's really tempting at this current price. For the B580, we don't get the averages. We just show the cheapest price that we could find for the card. Last month, it was at 16,000 plus. Now it's around 14,000 plus, so around a 2,000 peso difference. And that's relatively a big price decrease considering the overall price of the card. Intel has its problems. The drivers aren't as smooth. Sometimes, you know, the games are more finicky using an Intel GPU. But overall, big improvement over the first gen of Intel GPUs. Plus now, the price is really attractive. On the CPU side, we don't see as much volatility as in the GPU side. So these prices are actually looking pretty good. Most of the models went down in price slightly. So the ever-popular 9800X3D, last month, 29K plus. Ngayon, around 28,000 na lang siya. The 7800X3D was around 22,000. Now it's at around 20,000. So the X3D architecture from AMD, very popular with gamers because that additional cache really helps out gaming performance. And it's nice to see that the prices are still competitive. 7600X, big price drop actually from the average last month of around 16,000, which was an anomaly. Parang hindi yun in keeping with the historical trend of the CPU. Now this month, it's gone back to its historical average of around 12K, 13K. So yung bump up niya last month, baka nagkamali lang yung isang retailer or they had some really expensive stock they had to get rid of. Now the price for the 7600X, sort of the entry level for AM5, the price has gone back to normal. 5600X, AM4, kind of weird that the price hasn't gone down. It's actually gone up this month by around 600 pesos. And even more weird, hindi available yung 5600G. Actually, I looked into our supplier lists. Parang available pa naman siya. But none of the stores that we track carries it anymore or is out of stock. Which is a little surprising for me. Maganda naman yung 5600G. I mean, relative to its cost. You can have it in an office computer. You can even have it in sort of an entry-level gaming computer. And then you add a GPU later on to give it better oomph. Of course, there are other variants now. May 5600 GT. There are other competitors in that space. But I'm surprised that none of the 4 stores that we track has it on stock. All of the Intel CPUs that we've tracked, prices have gone down. That's good for Intel. They need to bring the prices lower. With their current selection, it's hard to compete pound for pound with AMD. So they need to lower their prices to attract back some of their market. So we have the fastest Core 9 Ultra 285K at a price difference of around 600 pesos. At this price point, around 36,000. You know what, 600 pesos more, but at least it's a price decrease. Same thing with the 4900K, around the 400 peso price drop. Not that big, but again, we'll take it. Even a smaller price drop for the 14700K of around 150 pesos. And then around the 200 peso price drop for the Core Ultra 7 265KF. So when I said Intel needed to lower its prices, they need to lower it some more. Itong mga pitik-pitik na, several hundred pesos drop isn't going to do it to win back the market. We are coming out with an Intel build this month na video, so check that out. If we could find an Intel build under our tree, that's the build that we would want. So that's coming out later this month. To sum it up, nothing particularly unexpected with the prices. We knew going into December that discounts were highly unlikely. The increase of Nvidia cards, sad to see, but again, not unexpected considering Nvidia is top of mind in our market, so there's more demand for it. Plus, with the ongoing memory shortage, the pricing increases will probably cascade into GPUs. Perhaps we're starting to see that in our market with supply tightening up. CPUs have remained relatively stable. Again, no surprise. And really, the only data point na nagulat ako was the steep price drop of the Intel GPU. So, should you upgrade this month? For GPUs and CPUs, it's kind of on the fence. Although, my advice is swinging towards yes, just because GPU prices will likely go up in the future because of the memory shortage. If you're thinking of upgrading RAM or storage, now might be the time to buy because price increases are expected to continue. We haven't reached the ceiling on the price increases caused by the memory shortage. So, if there's a scale between I can wait versus I need to pull the trigger now, there is some urgency to upgrade or to build a new computer if you need it in the next 6 months or so. Basically, if your window is, I can afford to wait 3 to 4 months, I wouldn't bet na after 4 months from now, the prices have stabilized or have dropped. Most likely, at this point in time, if you project 4 months down the line, mas mahal yung GPUs, mas mahal yung memory. So if that's your time frame, better to buy now, upgrade now, save yourself some money compared to what you would pay in the future na most likely mas mahal na sila. And yes, I own a computer shop, Hardware Sugar. Yes, it's in my best interest if I'm telling you to buy. But if you look at our content, pricewatch from the past 3 years, our other content, we're actually always telling the viewer when we think it's a good idea to hold muna, no need to upgrade, that older model still serves fine. So, we have hours and hours of content telling you honestly na, no, you don't need to upgrade. But this time, again, just being honest, it might be a good time to pull the trigger, reach for your wallet, because these price increases might just be the start. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you again next month for Price Watch, and we'll see over the coming months whether that prediction is correct. But remember, everything I extrapolate is based on hard facts, hard data. With PriceWatch, we have historical data. That's what allowed us to predict na hindi bababa yung prices for December. And nagkatotoo nga yun. So we'll see how our predictions turn out in 2026. Thanks for watching.